Good morning, Heritage Church. As some of you just said, I am Bill Gupton, the senior minister here at Heritage. Welcome, everyone. What a great Memorial Day Sunday morning. I'll just start. Welcome to Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church, but I want to begin by really welcoming Meg McGuire, my ministerial colleague, who I will now embarrass a little bit. She's preached here a couple of times, but it's the first time I've been able to be here with her on a Sunday morning. And she was a playmate as a child of my son Patrick, who just walked in. I see there's a 3-generation family in the house. There's so much energy. I kind of hated to ring the chime there. So welcome, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday morning here with us at Heritage. If you are a visitor, we ask you to sign the guest book out in the lobby and let us know how we can help you. Our greeter this morning, our board president, Jamie Castle, back in the corner there. Check in with Jamie and she'll show you around, answer any questions. I'll be happy to do that as well. I bet Bob Lamb would be happy to do that as well. And we're a very welcoming and warm congregation, so thank you for being here. I want to welcome Meg's wife, Paige. You probably didn't want me to shout you out, but there you are. She came down with Meg this weekend, so we're very excited to have everybody here. Meg asked about this tree. She says, is the Christmas tree here all year round? So I figured I should explain that this is on this tree are different color-coded ornaments with ways that you can help our Peace Camp, things that need to be donated here in the next couple of weeks. Peace Camp is now 2 weeks away. I believe, are full. We have 28 to 30 people, kids registered for Peace Camp this year. So that'll be something that we're very proud of having and hosting here at Heritage. If you are a member of the church, I want to make sure to remind you that next Sunday morning, that's next Sunday morning, is our annual congregational meeting at 8:30 a.m. before the service here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. If you're a member of the church, you should have received an email this week with the official announcement about the annual meeting that included an operating budget proposed by the board for the upcoming fiscal year. And this with candidates for the Board of Trustees. This year, we're electing 3 new board members as well as other congregational representatives. So if you have any questions about the annual meeting, see Jamie, see Julie, or me, but please be here next Sunday to help us achieve a quorum and continue our democratic process as a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Please turn off your cell phones. Now would be a good time to do that. I know a couple of weeks ago I encouraged you to turn them on. That was a unique and special occasion. We would today appreciate the silencing or turning off of your cell phones so that the folks on Zoom particularly can get plenty of bandwidth. So let's welcome Zoom. Now you'll think we're welcoming you, but we're saying hi to Zoom. So you can. Thanks for being here virtually as well. The service is being recorded and will be available on our website here in a couple of days, as is the case most weeks. Our call to worship this morning is from the Reverend Kirk Lodeman Copeland, former minister of the First Unitarian Church in Pittsburgh. We are called today to gather in worship as a beloved community. We're called to set aside our distractions and anxieties, the mundane and the frustrating, so that we might touch deeper springs and in the process be renewed. We're called to seek and to share comfort for the injuries that afflict us. We're called to bring forth more love, more justice, more life, more abundance. We're called to truth, to mercy, to humility and courage. Let us answer the call with the yes of our lives. Come, let us worship together. wherever you are, whenever you are. I invite you now to rise in body and or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Mentally and physically. Covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Meg McGuire. It is wonderful to be back here with you all. And we're going to enter into a time for all ages via video. Lacey helped find a story titled My Magic Breath. And it's a story about finding calm and grounding through breath, and kind of invites that practice of us. So we will watch.
My magic breath reminds everyone that peace is only a single blow away. My magic breath, finding calm through mindful breathing. Do you have the magic breath? Let's see. take a deep breath in and blow it out. Wow, you do have the magic breath. The magic breath is special. It helps when you have too many thoughts running through your mind. At the end of a day, there is a lot to think about. Sometimes when you are worried or nervous or sad, deep breaths can help push some of those thoughts away. Think about when you feel happy. Taking a big breath in and thinking about something that made you feel great will help you to enjoy your happy moments even more. It's magic. Let's try it out. What happened today that made you smile? Take a deep breath in and picture that moment in your mind. Get ready. Let's blow out all those happy thoughts onto the page. Now that looks like happiness. Keep blowing. Keep thinking happy. Whew, that's a lot of happiness. I bet you have a smile on your face. A big smile can make you feel better. But sometimes things happen that make you feel sad or mad. Did something happen today that made you feel that way? I bet it's stuck in your mind. Let's try your magic breath again. Think about what happened. Now keep it in your mind. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Now blow out your breath here. One more time. Take an even bigger breath. Remember that happy thought? Use it to push out your sad thought. Can you blow that sad thought right off the page? Keep trying. Make sure to blow all the sad thoughts out of sight. Whew, you did it. Goodbye, sad thoughts. Do you feel better now? You used your magic breath to help you. Taking deep breaths in and out when you are sad or mad or worried or happy can help you feel better. Your magic breath can help you laugh and appreciate happy times. Magic breath can also help you feel calm when you are not so happy. Instead of having your mind full of thoughts at the end of the day, your mind is ready for sweet dreams. Let's do one big yawn together. Time to give your magic breath a rest. Sweet dreams until tomorrow. Thank you for reading with me. Subscribe and check out my other social emotional books for kids.
Are we all awake now after those breaths? I'm Bob Drake, and if you're new to Heritage, this is a time in our service we call Sharing Our Abundance, and we do not ever pass the plate and keep it for our congregation. We pass the plate and give it away to various nonprofits that align with our values and principles. And one of our frequent recipients, and an organization we've supported for a really long time, is Interparish Ministry, IPM, the food pantry, of which there is now only one, because the two that there were have combined into a nice new building on Eichholz Road in Mount Carmel, and it's heavenly working or volunteering there. But now it's summertime, and a lot of you know, I'm sure, that a lot of children get a lot of their nutrition at school. There's breakfast, free lunches, there's all kinds of things. And on weekends, sometimes that's a little problematic. In the summertime, it's a long time for some of those kids where they don't get that supplemental nutrition. So one of the things IPM has been doing is in the summer, in June, July, and August, we have mobile pantries set up in some of the more rural areas at schools. And that's every Wednesday, there'll be a different place. It's like Williamsburg, Goshen, Felicity, Franklin, and Bethel are the 4 that are every on Wednesdays. And they have a total of over 40 mobile pantries of various sorts. And our slogan, I didn't wear my IPM volunteer shirt, but in the back now it says, reaching further, feeding more. And we are constantly pushing out and out and out and out. Like last Wednesday, our mobile pantry was in Hamersville in Brown County. Saturday, we're doing one at some church, Bridgeway, I think it's called, Bridgeview, in Moscow, Ohio. And so we're pushing out. Those mobile pantries are pretty expensive to do. I mean, we're buying all the stuff from the Free Store Food Bank, loading it up, taking it up, setting it out, giving it out. It's a project. But I want you to take a look at this sheet that you got when you came in. People sometimes go to the store, they buy, whatever groceries they're gonna buy, and they think of IPM, and they have a few items. They'll bring them to church, put them in the cart that's in the Great Hall. This is a way more efficient way to do it. It's very simple. I'll give you the short version. You go to the website, you click on ways you can help, boom, like that, boom. There's a lot of, there's drop-down wish lists, Amazon wish lists for each of the various classifications of program that IPM does. Like general pantry needs. If you click on that, there's all the sort of things that IPM needs. And it has the advantage of, A, you don't have to worry about dates. It's all brand new. B, you don't have to get out of bed if you don't want to. You just click on what you want. You pay for it like you normally would. And Amazon, one of the addresses you have as a choice is IPM. And it just, boom, it all magically happens. There's a button for power packs, really important for kids. Those are the little things that they put together. A lot of schools get them from. Easy to prepare, or things that don't require any preparation, granola bars and just fruit cups and all those kind of things that get kids through times of, when they're missing their breakfast and lunch. And the Children's Hunger Alliance says that food insecure children, especially during the summer months, they actually will take a step back in their competencies. Because, think about it. If you're not eating properly, you don't have the learning capacity. But so this is just a nice way to give to IPM very easily. And there's also the backpack program is for unhoused people. It's a backpack full of tarps and blankets and foods that don't need to be prepared, that are ready to eat, that are easy to open. And we've had a couple people come through when I've been there that's what they needed. There's personal care. There's a whole section that you can click on the button for personal care items, which are always a big one. Because now we no longer have just the drive-through pantry. There's also the choice pantry. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday is the drive-through. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, there's a choice pantry where our neighbors can come in and get a shopping cart and go through and pick what they want, how much they, it's a choice pantry. People don't just get things shoved into the car like at the drive-through, where sometimes it's stuff they don't want. Somebody gets home and, oh, I don't even like cabbage. This way you can pick. I would encourage everybody in the congregation to please think about volunteering at IPM. We need a lot of volunteers, particularly for that choice pantry, because it takes a while to go through. You're with a shopper, and as the neighbor picks whatever they want, the shopper kind of bags it and helps with the cart, and then we take it out and help them load it in the car. And it takes a while. So we're to the point where we started out doing just the drive-through until things got settled in the new building, then introduced the choice pantry, and it was like this, drive-through, choice pantry. Now it's kind of like that. And it's really busy. And it takes 15 minutes to get through that with somebody. So we need a lot of people, especially in that first hour, runs from 12:30 to 2:30, because people are waiting, and we don't want them to wait. We want them to come through and get their food, be on their way. Another thing I wanted to mention is clothing. Pre-COVID, at the 2 IPM locations before, we had clothing, and people could come through and, choose clothing as well as the food. Partner now with St. Vincent de Paul. At the pantry, there's a big blue donation box. You can put clothing in there, and kachong, it goes to them. They will then give us clothing vouchers that we give to our neighbors that come through, and they can shop for themselves. Now, I realize everybody isn't going to take their used clothing to IPM, but if you bring it here and put it in the cart that we have in the Great Hall, I'll be happy to take it there. So I would encourage you to do that too. It's a way to get your clothing back into the community instead of it going, to Africa, or as some of them do. Let's see. Oh, the other thing is IPM has just introduced 7, in the month of June alone, 7 pop-up pantries at senior living centers, which I think will be a really cool thing too. And there's the most fungible thing of all, and that's money. And that's what we'd like you to give generously today.
So our meditative hymn this morning is titled Meditation on Breathing. This is actually from the Teal hymnal. So I understand it may be new, simple, and Sherry is going to kind of take us through it a couple times. In my experience, this is a wonderful invitation to just settle a little bit deeper into the kind of simplicity of the words and into our time together.
Bit. I'm going to play it through once with the melody. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. And then I'll play the descant part, and any of you choir members there can help us out with that. So I'll play it through once for the melody, again with the descant, and then we'll do it twice through. Everybody sing the melody, and then the last 3 times, let's see who can do descant as well. Yeah. That's the bottom part, yeah. Yeah. There's actually 3 parts, but Steve, you're going to have to help with this, all right? So here's how the melody goes. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. And then the descant is...
Breathe out peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Okay.
Just like that, see? Easy.
That's pretty easy, right? And then the bottom part is breathe in, breathe out, breathe in,
Breathe out. See,
Easy
choices.
peasy. Lots of choices.
And no performance anxiety, please, because we're about meditating and
It's
getting
all
calm.
about
So
breathing.
sing what you feel and what you want.
Okay, right.
Here we go.
So here's the melody. When I breathe in,
I'll breathe out peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
When I breathe in,
I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Now we can have it. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, when I breathe. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, when I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Yay,
that
nice
was
job.
very nice.
And to join me in a time of prayer and contemplation. Spirit of life, abiding love beyond all naming, we come together this Sunday like every Sunday, a tapestry of individuals, unique, precious, and distinct, who choose nevertheless to come together, to focus our attention, our gaze, our hearts, our minds on that which matters most. This day that we've been given, this precious community, this life, with its joys and its heartbreaks, all that it asks of each one of us. This Memorial Sunday, we also pause to remember, holding with gratitude the people who have come before us, honoring those who have served and sacrificed, dedicated their lives to a greater purpose. May gratitude animate our days, shaping our attention and our response. May we have the fortification to both enjoy and to renew the gifts of our shared life. May it be so. Amen. I invite you to join me in a time of shared silence.
May we honor the spirit of life in each and in all. Amen. At Heritage, our Candles of Community ritual is a cherished and sacred time when we offer from our hearts often things that we have not shared before, things that are on our hearts, joys or sorrows from our week, triumphs or tragedies in our lives, things that are deeply and profoundly personal, celebratory or otherwise, that shape who we are and help weave together the fabric of this community. This time I invite anyone in the sanctuary who has a joy or a sorrow to share, to come forward, take the microphone, tell us your name and what is in your heart. Meg will light a candle as you speak. Following that, we'll have the folks on Zoom. We'll have the opportunity to type something into the chat. I will read that aloud as well. There were no pre-submitted joys or sorrows this week. So if you're in the sanctuary, are there joys or sorrows among us today? We light one final candle for each and every unspoken joy or sorrow that remain in our hearts this morning. That left arm still causes me to pay attention sometimes. I reach out and think I'm going to lift something up, and then, no, that's not going to happen. So we come now to a poem titled Attention. Poet from Oakland, California, who is the author of a collection titled Deluge. She's currently a writer in residence at Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts. Now, when Meg gave me this poem, she also gave it with a warning that I believe you said there are a few tongue twisters in this poem, and I'm going to do my best to properly read this challenging but extremely wonderful poem that indeed invites all of you, as well as the reader, to pay attention. All day, the world makes its demands. There's so much of it, world, begging to be noticed. 2 seconds past dreaming, the cat's there kneading claws into my chest. A truck outside coughs and a buzz alerts me to the newest dispatch of love. The beginning of devotion, the poet said, and I devote myself to everything. I try to be fair to the kettle's fussy squall and to the egg's expiration date, the amassed garbage and mail in domiciliary limbo by the door. I espy the top headlines, the top of my feed, trending topics, and the occasion for today's irascible flock. Injudiciously, I devote myself to a grade school acquaintance's Facebook Jeremiad, the entirety of a former paramour's mawkish engagement shoot, crinzy katzenjammer of a comments section, and then an insurgence of mourning lacquers my screen, vagary of sun, with lapidary clarity, motes glistening by the window, and water illumined in a jar. I note the branches' meek wave, flag of the leaves, the jays jostling at the feeder like boys obvious in their need to be seen, the squirrels and shadows' territorial performances, petunias and progeny in yards vibrant as advertisements, even the sky turning quintessentially bluer when observed. But I can't keep up. My own body raucous for acknowledgement, pruritic and palpitating, frenetic, ultra-whelmed sensorium, myself taxed with being a self, brimming with living's rowdy mechanics and disruptions unremitting. A thought flits by, then another, an unpaid bill, a jingle's tenacious refrain, and votary of the sublunary, the proximate, any moment's evanescent welter. Neophytic exalter of the ordinary and all around, henotheist yielding to the most persuasive God, the most recent. To each thing I say, yes, yes, zealot of whatever calls me next.
At any given moment, there are countless possibilities, countless demands, countless options for what we attend to. Of course, I hope to be compelling enough to carry your attention, even some of the time, but I know there are plenty of other options, things vying for your interest. Inviting round window behind me, the presence of friends and acquaintances, old and new, candles representing the heart of this community. And for those of you on Zoom, I can only imagine how many more invitations there must be. Pets, children, nagging chores within eyesight. And of course, that's not including the sensations of the body, pain or fatigue, hunger or ease. That's not including the stream of musings, internal to-do lists, memories, or upcoming plans that might be parading through each of our minds at any given moment. That's definitely not including the near infinite possibilities that live on the tiny computers that each of us carry around almost all the time. All of these, I would argue, are meaningful objects of attention. I'm aware, of course, my phone already invites a little too much of my attention, but you can argue any of these are worthy of our attention. There are so many possibilities, so much world, as Leila Chatti described in our reading. So much world begging to be noticed, so much world making demands of each of us, so much world inviting our attention. Invoking the poet Mary Oliver, who in one of her many writings on the subject offered that attention is the beginning of devotion. Leila Chatti demonstrates the potential drawbacks of giving attention to the most persuasive bidder, an approach which results in being yanked from one stimulus, whatever it is that calls her next. It's a little dizzying to listen to, easy to laugh at, but most of all, for me at least, uncomfortably realistic. Life can feel like that a lot of the time. The word attention comes from the Latin, ad meaning to or toward, and tendre meaning to stretch. So attention then being to stretch toward. And we are stretching toward something, or perhaps being pulled toward something, all of the time. The missing ingredient in our poet's foray into attention is what P.L. Travers calls attention's closest kin, intention. Intentionality about where our attention goes. Because what we give our attention to matters. It matters quite a lot. So I'm going to invite us to play a little game. In just a moment, I'll invite you to look around the room you're in, whether you're here in the sanctuary or home on Zoom. And in just a moment, don't start yet, to look for and count as many red things as you can see. We'll take just a few seconds. So look around the space and count as many red things as you can see. Okay, pencils down. Who saw 3 red things? Awesome. 5 red things? Couple folks. 7? 10? Got someone in the galley. Anyone see 12? Oh my gosh, Kevin. How many did you see? What was 15. All right. Well, congratulations. With a little help from Zoom, you win. There's no prize other than the satisfaction of your prowess at noticing and counting. But how about this? Thinking back to those few seconds, did you see any blue things? Some people are saying yes. You probably did. Did you count any blue things? Right. So, at least not consciously. And even though I'm sure we could take 5 seconds and look around the room and count blue things, and I'm actually pretty sure we'd find more blue things than red things, given blue. Now, I acknowledge you would be fully justified in objecting to the whole premise of this exercise. I invited you to look for red things, and you did. I said nothing about blue things, so of course you weren't looking for them. But while we may not always be operating with such explicit instructions, our attention nevertheless renders what we perceive. William James, a 19th century American psychologist and philosopher who was a contemporary and thought partner of some of our Unitarian forebears, argues that our experience is shaped by what we attend to. James writes, "Millions of items of the outward order are present to my senses, which never properly enter into my experience. Why? Because they have no interest for me. My experience is what I agree to attend to. Only the items which I notice shape my mind." And he continues, "Without selective interest, experience is an utter chaos. Interest alone gives accent and emphasis, light and shade, background and foreground, intelligible perspective, in a word." We are always making choices. Bringing one thing into focus means that something else recedes. Looking out the window while brushing my teeth means I'll notice the buds on the tree, but I might fail to notice my sweet, attentive dog standing in the hallway and waiting for my care. When I pull out my phone while waiting in line, my attention may travel through news headlines and messages from loved ones throughout the country, but in the meantime, I miss the people standing right around me, who may well also be on their phones. And what we attend to in one moment can shape what we attend to in another. I imagine many of us have had the experience of encountering something once and then suddenly seeing it everywhere. Becoming a bird watcher renders the world more full of birds. Watching a lot of true crime TV may heighten our sensitivity to human fallibility and our potential to hurt one another. Learning Spanish will illuminate all of the bilingual signs that have been there all along. None of this is inherently good or bad. It depends on what you value. But I think it's worth noticing what we're noticing. Every day I encounter illness, profound grief and loss, and the fragility and impermanence of this life that we share. It's meaningful work that I feel very privileged to do. But I've been learning that it really requires that I pay attention to my attention, especially once I leave the hospital. Because left unchecked, this work could lead me to conclude that life is unbelievably tragic. And of course it is. It is tragic for all of us at some point, and some of us right now. But it isn't only that. Life is also beautiful, hopeful, funny, sometimes even mundane. So when I leave the hospital each day, I've learned I have to make a choice. Not to perceive the world around me through the lens of loss and fragility, even though that does shape my experience in ways I'm grateful for, offering me a daily reminder of the gift that this life is. But I have to remember to also let myself perceive and be moved by life's vitality, to apprehend its resilience, and to celebrate hope, even the glimmers of hope, whenever I encounter them. Attention comes to shape the way we experience the world and ourselves in it. And how we experience the world and ourselves matters very much, both for its own sake, but also because it shapes what we do. A few years ago, an adventurous friend persuaded me to join her on a mountain biking trip. And while I'd spent plenty of time in the saddle, I'd always kept to the predictable terrain of pavement and never really experienced riding on dirt trails, which is different. With some trepidation, I said yes and quickly began soliciting advice from strangers and friends and people on the internet about how to go about this mountain biking thing. What I was told again and again went something like this: look where you want to go. In the abstract, divorced from the actual experience of mountain biking, this advice seemed obvious and pretty unhelpful to me. Of course, you look where you want to go. Where else would you be looking? It wasn't until our first rocky descent that I began to understand the deeper value of this advice. My gaze moved frantically from rocky obstacle to rocky obstacle, and at the slow speed of someone who is terrified and in over her head, I bounced over just at the bottom of the hill. As I caught my breath and questioned some of my life choices, my friend offered the same advice: look where you want to go. Seeing my look of justifiable disdain, she elaborated: you've been looking at the rocks, not the line. By looking where you want to go, you set your body position to steer in that direction. While this still seemed like magical thinking, I quickly discovered there's a good reason why this advice is so ubiquitous. Not that I became a skilled mountain biker or that the coming descents were totally free of the mild terror of the first, but I was able to decrease the number of rocks that I ran over. Jenny Odell, who is an artist and author of the book How to Do Nothing, argues that attention implies alignment. Alignment between different parts of the self, perhaps, between the mind and the body, acting together and oriented toward the same thing. Aligning my attention and my body with my desired outcome, I survived the mountain biking trip. Cultivating alignment between our intention, our values, and our moment-to-moment choices. This is what allows meaningful action. This is how we get where we want to go. And I think that's true in our individual lives and in community. Of course, alignment isn't easy. It can be hard to come to consensus within oneself, much less with others, about what matters most. But even when we do, no amount of clarity and intention diminish what is, I think, the bigger challenge, which is the reality of our incredible distractibility. William James defined attention as the ability to hold something before the mind, a deceptively difficult endeavor, given the mind's natural inclination to wander toward novelty. Sustained attention, then, is not a product of some innate superior skill at focusing, but that are characterized by a series of successive efforts to bring attention back to the same thing over and over and over again. So this is where practice comes in. Odell likened attention to breathing. We'll breathe one way or another, consciously or not. Our attention, no matter how flighty or undirected, is always going somewhere. But the quality of our breath, and more significantly, both breath and attention can be trained, deepened with practice. Just like what we did in the Time for All Ages, training our breath. In a way, practice is also how we attend to the direction of our attention. Practice helps us notice what we're noticing. Practice is how we bring ourselves back over and over again. And I imagine that many of you have practices that help you notice what you're noticing, whether that's journaling or meditation or therapy or long talks with good friends. In this case, I'm talking about the simplest and least ambitious definition of practice, which is the simple act of doing something over and over again. Knowing that most of the time, if you do something over and over again, you get at least a little bit better at it. To paraphrase Episcopal priest Barbara Brown Taylor, the practice of paying attention requires no special equipment, no clothing, no greens fees, no personal trainers. All you need is a body on this earth willing to notice where it is and what it is oriented toward. The practice of attention can be as simple as this right here, what we're doing together right now, showing up or logging onto Zoom once a week to be together, and to return week after week to the questions, the commitments, the longings that guide our lives. Asking ourselves and each other over and over again, what are you stretching towards? What are we stretching towards? And where do we want to go? Maybe so.
Thank you, Meg. I invite everybody to take a deep, attentive breath for a second. Then you're going to focus that breathing skill on singing now. Please rise in body and or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, which I understand is one of Meg's favorites. It's number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. join hands for the benediction. Stay here.
Y'all are way too much over there.
How many you use does it take to form a circle? May the Spirit of life, that each of us possesses, flow from, stay with us, and bring us peace and harmony. Until we meet again. Amen. See you next Sunday morning for the annual meeting.